Hi, Chris Walker here. One of the more beautiful things about understanding the 5 laws of nature is the application of the concept of balance, the application of the concept of evolution, evolving, the application of the principle of conservation of energy, the application of the principle of rhythm and harmony in your life, and last but not least, a complete understanding of the idea of truth. The way that we do that is with a simplified language discard form. It's about positive personal change through higher consciousness. It brings spirit to life. It fosters a new generation of leaders. It opens up and heals people. It shares tools of knowledge. And it's a global way to change people's heart, one heart at a time. So I'd like to take you through now the simplified language discard form, stage by stage. So here we go. We begin with column 1, and in column 1 we write the positives you see in the other person. So this is a mobile meditation. So as you go through life, every single day you get a chance to see positives in people. In column 2, you're asked to write down who sees that trait in you to the same degree. And they're initials that I've written down to witness the fact that I have the smarts that I see in another person. In column 3, we're looking for how you lose out from them doing it. In other words, if we're infatuated with smart, what's the downside? And if we're still infatuated with smart, what's the downside to others from me doing it? So we're trying to take an elated concept and depreciate it. Column 5 is who sees the opposite quality in them. And every person has balance, so they're dumb as well as smart. Who was acting out the opposite trait towards me? So someone's smart acting to me, someone's dumb acting towards me. And finally we say, what gift would we gain from them doing the opposite? And in this case, you can see what I've written. So let's go to the next line, where I've already written down the people who see me as sexy. I've written now, going to write out how do I lose out from that person being sexy. The next column, I'm going to write out how do people lose out from me being sexy. And it's distracting, they underestimate me, they get manipulated, they lose a sense of self. What's in column 5, who sees the opposite quality in that person? So they are sexy, the one I see as sexy. Who sees them as not sexy? In column 6, it's asking who is acting out the opposite trait towards me. So if someone's acting sexy towards me, someone is acting unsexy towards me at the same time. This is the law of balance. And finally, column 7, what's the gift that I would gain from them being not sexy? In other words, I'm trying to kill off the infatuation with the positive of the word sexy. Wealthy is the next one, and I've gone down and I've owned it, which is written down the initials of where I have it. I've now depreciated it, how I lose out from them being wealthy. I now depreciate it even further by proving out that there are disadvantages to other people from my form of wealth. I go down to the next column and see who would see that person as poor, this wealthy person as poor. And now I look at who was acting out poverty towards me while this wealthy person was acting out wealth. And finally, I look at the benefits of being close to a poverty-stricken person. Happy, where am I happy? Next column, depreciate it. What is the disadvantage, or how do I lose out from being around a happy person? You can see my answers are all written there. I'm not going to recite them. How others lose out from me being happy. So I further depreciate it. So I bring it down to a balanced perception. I then go to column 5. Who sees the opposite in the happy person? Because everybody has two sides. I then ask who was acting out unhappiness towards me at the time this person was hanging around being happy around me, because that's the law of balance. And finally, I depreciate it even further by saying, what gift would I gain from them doing the opposite? And finally, I use the word intelligent towards this person. I see where I'm intelligent. I look for depreciating it to find out how intelligent is a disadvantage for me from another person. I now look at the disadvantage to others from me being intelligent. I now ask who sees them with the opposite quality. As an intelligent person, you could say they have organic traits. Who's acting out the opposite traits towards me at the same time, and finally, what gift would I gain from them doing the opposite? It's a very spectacular mobile meditation. Now I flip to the other side, and always, if I've found 5 positive traits in a person, I need to find 5 negative in the exact same person. And either, if it's someone that's pissed you off, you'll be easily able to find 5 qualities that piss you off, but then you need to find 5 qualities that please you, or even the 5 opposites. So you go through exactly the same process, except because it's a negative, you firstly own it, and then our job is to appreciate that value. So because we've put something down, we're now building it back up again, so we get a balanced perspective, because cruel is both good and bad. That's the consciousness of the word cruel. When you're conscious of something, it means that you run it. You can choose how you apply it. So cruelty, for example, I might use to push through people's resistance in a consulting process. So the form is really self-explanatory, and as you can see, I'm filling out this form thoroughly. It takes me roughly 5 minutes a line, to do both positive and negative. So about 3 minutes for a negative and 3 minutes for a positive. And that means in 15 minutes I can do a whole person. So that's a fairly fast process when you think about. Sometimes you can spend months in therapy or years. Sometimes it takes me longer, especially when the quality is something that I don't want to own in myself. So column 9 becomes quite challenging, filling out initials. But I'll fill out those initials until I go, oh my God, I have the same exact quantity and quality of the negative trait that I criticize in them. The way I do that, column 9, you can see me filling out the form, and while I'm doing that I can talk about it. The way I fill out column 9 is I go around the 7 areas of life, and I use the law of conservation of energy, which means nothing's missing. So if I don't have wealth in money, I have wealth in health, wealth in relationship, wealth in spiritual, wealth in financial, and I find who sees it in those areas of life. And remembering column 9 is also any time in your life, and it could be for a minute with an individual witnessing it. So when we're not saying it's all day, every day, we're saying where is it from time to time, and how does it add up? So you can see here we're going through all the different levels of the form, and it really, after a while, you start to see that there's a magnificence in your life, and that magnificence has come from probably the things that you considered to be the most discomforting or painful. So we go through column 10, and we finally come down through the form to appreciate the negatives more. And it's worth writing these down. I have in my computer, I have probably 10,000 versions of this that I've just done year after year after year, and quite often the same word comes up another time over and over again in the left column 8, and I just do it again. I don't mind doing that, because each time I do this I come to a state of absolute unconditional love and gratitude for not only the person but for the universe for generating that person. There are some negative qualities that have negative qualities as their opposite. For example, fragile here. And the opposite to fragile is tough. So you can go, well, I don't like fragile people, but I don't like tough people either. And it's ironic that we will get into ourselves into a bit of a bind, in a judgment, and have no way out. So the beauty of this form is it's as a mobile meditation. It brings you to unconditional love, which is the purpose of meditation, and an inner calm if you fill out the form thoroughly and properly. And once a week, if you did one person, you would become an extraordinarily enlightened person. By the end of a year, you will have done 50 people, or one person 50 times. Either way, you will cover nearly every trait, and there are 3,000 of them. So now we write a thankfulness letter, and the thankfulness letter is really important. At the end of a thankfulness letter, you'll know whether you've written a real letter or not, because you'll have the following qualities. You'll have inspiring eye tears. Now, the inspiring eye tears come out the outside corners of your eye. You'll have a feeling of lightness, a feeling of presence of the person you did the discard on, which is quite amazing. Even if they've passed out of their body and they're not alive, you'll feel their presence. A sense of perfect order, overwhelming desire to embrace, eyes keep looking up, you'll get inner calm, which is again why I call this mobile meditation. And you'll get a sense of inner confidence, a sense of overwhelming love and appreciation for life. This is Chris Walker. I really invite you to be methodical and thorough in understanding the process of doing mobile meditation. I really do believe in the benefits of sitting meditation and emptiness and silence in nature. But if that process doesn't confront your belief patterns and your thinking process around people, as soon as you get up from that sitting position and walk out onto the street, you're going to be back in turmoil and want to be running away into a meditation practice. This is Chris Walker. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.